The story I'm about to tell you could be a fairy tale, a supernatural tale, or perhaps something else entirely. But one thing is certain, it holds a unique kind of magic. Once upon a time, in a small, quaint boutique on the corner of an old street, there stood a mannequin. She was a striking figure with porcelain skin, glossy obsidian hair, and eyes that sparkled like emeralds. She had been a fixture in the shop's window display for as long as anyone in the town could remember. But one fateful night, during a heavy thunderstorm, a bolt of lightning struck the boutique's power lines. The mannequin, though once a lifeless figure, stirred to a semblance of life. Her emerald eyes blinked open, and she took in her surroundings with a sense of wonder. Despite her newfound awareness, she still appeared as a mannequin, beautiful yet unmoving, with her porcelain skin and glossy hair untouched by the elements. As she observed the rain cascading outside and the occasional passerby, she experienced a strange sensation of consciousness washing over her. Though she was now aware, her body remained rigid and immobile, leaving her as nothing more than a static observer of the world from her fixed vantage point. Over time, she discovered she could will her limbs into action. At night, when the shop was empty and silent, she cautiously stepped off the platform. Her movements were initially awkward, but with each step, they became more fluid and graceful. As the days passed, the mannequin began to explore the boutique. She looked at her own reflection in the mirror and realized for the first time that she was indeed beautiful. She marveled at her reflection, ran her fingers through her ebony hair, and wondered about the world outside the store. But there was one item in particular that caught her attention. A beautiful grand piano situated at the far end of the boutique. It was a magnificent instrument, with gleaming keys and an elegant design that seemed to whisper to her. Lila, as she would come to be known, felt an inexplicable and compelling call to play it. Though she had never touched a piano before, the desire to press its keys and create music was overwhelming, even if she didn't fully understand why. Despite this, she pushed back those feelings and went on with her days, observing the shopkeeper each morning, completely oblivious to her newfound sentience. From her hidden vantage point, Lila observed the comings and goings of the townsfolk, witnessing the changing seasons and the latest fashion trends displayed in the store's window. Yet, her gaze often wandered back to the grand piano, her fingers twitching with the desire to play. But as many times before, she pushed those thoughts aside and went on with her days. Loneliness was a feeling she was just beginning to understand, tugging at her synthetic heart and sparking a deep yearning for human interaction. One evening, as the store emptied, she summoned her courage and ventured outside. The world was vast and intimidating, but the curiosity that filled her was insatiable. She wandered the streets, observing the bustling life of the town, the people passing by, and the beauty of the world beyond the boutique. But with each passing day, she felt a deep sense of isolation. She longed to communicate, to connect with someone who could understand her. One evening, as she stood on the same corner where her boutique was located, a young artist passed by. She noticed the mannequin standing there, her emerald eyes capturing the artist's attention. Intrigued by the mannequin's lifelike appearance, the artist approached her. "Hello?" the artist said with a warm smile. "What's your name?" The mannequin hesitated, realizing she had no name. "I don't have a name," she admitted. "Then let's give you one," the artist said. "How about Lila? It means beautiful in Sanskrit." Lila nodded. For the first time in her newly found existence, she had a name, a connection, and a friend. The artist took Lila to see the ocean, guiding her to the cliffs where they watched the waves crash against the shore. They drove down the Pacific Coast Highway in California, soaking in the breathtaking ocean views. They visited Bodega Bay and saw the iconic schoolhouse from the movie The Birds. They also walked through the redwood forest, marveling at the towering ancient trees. Despite these incredible adventures, Lila felt an inescapable need to play the grand piano in the boutique. The thought of its keys calling to her like a distant melody. Each time they returned to the shop, the artist noticed Lila standing before the piano, her eyes filled with longing and a hint of sadness. One evening, the artist gently asked, "Would you like to play?" Lila, filled with trepidation and excitement, sat at the piano. As she placed her porcelain fingers on the keys, a flood of emotion coursed through her. She closed her eyes and began to play. The music that poured from her fingers was exquisite, a melody that seemed to capture the very essence of beauty and longing. It was as if the piano had been waiting for her, and she for it. The townspeople, drawn by the hauntingly beautiful music, gathered outside the little shop, enchanted by the sound. They listened in awe as Lila played. Her soul was being shaped with each note she played on the piano. The piano solo was a symphony of magic and joy. The air was filled with a sense of enchantment, and for a moment, time itself seemed to stand still, enveloped in the beauty of the music. In that moment, through the enchantment of the piano's music, Lila came to life, becoming flesh and blood, truly real. The story I'm about to tell you could